Uh, February 10th, 2026. I'd like to call the meeting order. It's 6:02 p.m. I'd like to follow up with prayer. Would you lead us, Caleb?
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your providence in which you care for all things, all living beings. You give food, give us all that we need. We thank you that you've given us this opportunity to be able to gather, to be able to talk about and discuss how to disperse this providence of yours with equity and goodness towards all of our neighbors. I ask that you would grant wisdom, and that you would cause us to be mindful of ways in which we might be able to mirror your own mercy to our own neighbors. Yes, that's all in Christ. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to follow pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I seen that. You got the Grand Scout of that. Where she grabbed that.
I'm good. We'll take attendance now. Lonnie Dickin,
Here.
John Adams,
Here.
Caleb Malcolm,
Here.
Belinda Gill, here. Robin Meek, here. Heidi is not, and Scott Williams.
Here.
Okay, our visitors that I have so far is Jerica Lapine, Christine Dickin, Ty Graves, Bobby Phillips,
One Mike Klein Peter. KLEIN.
thank you.
Everybody like to look over the meetings from last month's meeting, or the minutes from last month's meeting. Everybody's had a chance to review them. I'd like to get a motion for the minutes.
Make a motion to approve them.
Gotta get a second. Second. All in favor? All opposed? Can I get a motion to approve the trading report?
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next on to old business. See the shed removal still at the top of the list here.
Yes, the second letter did go out, but it's got a few more days on it before we can act.
Yes, still the insurance company, we heard anything from the.
No. The only thing I did hear from Heidi is that to prove it, we might have to go to court. She was gonna consult with another attorney there in her office and see what he thought. So they're still reviewing it.
Because like I said, technically the road pump sign, it wasn't even on us.
Yeah. The payroll ordinance from last time that you approved last time, I just need signatures this time.
Yeah. I saved a picture of it.
Okay.
I sent it to you, but I didn't figure unless we had another way of accessing it. You didn't mention it. No,
Never mind, and I got Wi-Fi.
Here, I can screenshot it out there so you had it.
Did you email it or? what?
Yeah, it's there's the screenshot. Oh, yes. That's what happens. That's what move on to new business, something new business that Scott and I discussed and need to make the board aware of. The control panel at the lift station was not functioning. We could not kill the pumps one at a time when we had the fiber optic that drove through the line. So it was 600. Troy, what did Troy say? If you were,
He said if we wanted to do it, he said should be able to do it for $500-600.
to fix the control so they work correctly, and I think we should spend that one.
Yeah,
It
I
should
mean,
be an issue at all
yeah,
because we had it was a heavy.
but it's
shipment.
running and everything. It's just not the way it's supposed to be. So
And also some new business that Robin and I that we discussed. I don't know if that's a new business or old business, but the 811. So okay, we've been working on that. Robin has filled the paperwork out. So when anybody's doing any digging in the town, we'll locate the sewer lines. So we won't have the same situation as we had last time, hopefully.
I uploaded the map for them and they said that that would work.
So we want to put in that.
Okay.
So we should be getting close to. And the next thing we have a couple of gentlemen here this evening from Weller. Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Started out.
Yeah, I'll just make an introduction. I'm Ty Graves with Wessler Engineering, civil engineering firm here in Indiana. We don't do everything. We do three things: water, wastewater, and stormwater. So we only do the wet side engineering. With that, we'll do SCADA systems and full design. But that's not what brought us here. This meeting's actually about Mike Kleinpeter. We were hired. We did some smoke testing. We did some investigation work for you. Presented that in Q4 of last year. But the ultimate takeaway from that was you probably need to talk to a grant writer. I mean, it's not, you don't have to be a private investigator to find infrastructure challenges in the Midwest anywhere. Every town has them. Problem is always the same. You got a lot of problems and no money. So with that, I just asked, what you guys understood and what you dealt with and what your experiences were with different grants. Mike's here tonight. He's got his own grant writing firm. No association between the two firms, other than we've done a bunch of projects, across Indiana, similar to what you guys are probably looking at. Outside of that, I just want to appreciate you, pulling us in for that smoke study. Anytime you want any, further investigation or our opinion on what you may need to do, we're working with a couple communities. Salem and all around, but I really thought it made more sense for you guys to hear from Mike Kleinpeter talking about grants. How do you get them, competitiveness of them, and that's getting tougher. But I'm gonna shut up and let Mike kind of run through his presentation.
Good evening, Council. Mike Kleinpeter Consulting Group. I'm based out of Greenwood, Indiana, but I actually grew up in Seymour, not too far away. my mom up until last year owned a tax business in North Vernon. So Indiana tax professional. So I don't know if anybody knows Smarty, but that's my mom. Looking at this packet, just to give you a little background on who we are, what we have to offer, and then I'm going to talk briefly about Okra, what grants are available, and how competitive we are. Because we can go after a million grants, but if we can't get anything funded, I don't want to waste anybody's time. So, I actually used to work for the Office of Community and Rural Affairs back in 2015. My job there was to check and make sure grants were done correctly. Prior to that, I got a bachelor's degree from IU, and then I got a master's and an MBA and master's in finance from IU as well. Worked in Kentucky doing grants. My wife went to pharmacy school over there, so we were a house divided a little bit. She was a UK and I was an IU fan. Uh, but moved back to Indiana because we were from Seymour. Both our families are from Seymour. And I started writing grants and had a lot of success through the years. So the last 3 years, you can see we submitted a total of what is that? 62 grants we had funded. We wrote 66 grants. So we did miss a couple, but we had an awful lot of grants funded. And I think part of it is because going through this packet and going through the score sheets with you, I can tell you exactly what's a good project that we can get funded and what is something we probably don't want to spend money chasing because we can't get there. On August 20th, 2025, Okra awarded 11 construction projects in the state. I'll get more in depth in this in here in a minute, but what I'm saying here is Okra has 2 construction rounds in a year, or in June and December. You're competing against everybody in the state. Cities, towns, you're competing for points, basically. Whoever scores the highest is who gets funded. They only awarded 11 in the whole state last August 20th. We submitted 6 as a company, and we had 6 funded. So we took 6 out of the 11 in the state. Those were the city of Elwood, the city of Montpelier, the town of Cynthiana, that's a pretty small town, town of Bloomingdale, town of Cloverdale, and town of Thorntown. On December 18th, Okra awarded 3 utility planning grants in the whole state. We wrote 3, Eaton, Parker City, and Rossville, and had all 3 funded. So we've had a lot of success at Okra. Some people ask me, why do we have so much success? And it's really not about me, it's about the team we have. We currently work in 107 municipalities, so we are all over the state. I'm at council meetings every single night. We have a total of 16 staff to help with grants. 5 of us used to work at Okra. So as the Okra staff retired and they were done, I said, "Hey, I got something for you to do. Come on over here and work part-time for me, for home." And I've just grabbed a lot of part-time staff with all this experience. 7 of us are certified grant administrators. That means if something happens to me, there's 6 other certified grant administrators that can take care of your project. You do have to be certified to work on what's called an Okra grant because it's federal community development block grant. Our team, the thing that differentiates us is our team has 115 years experience with these Okra community development block grants. That's because they worked at Okra, a lot of them. So when you flip over to the next page, you see I'm the rookie with 10 years experience doing this. Beth Go worked at Okra for 30 years. She's worked with me for 6, so she's got 36 years experience. Neil worked at Okra for about 14 years. He's been with me for 5 years. Greg Weimer has 28 years Okra experience. He was the interim director of Okra about 20 years ago. So he was the very top person there. He then became a state representative, and when he did that, he didn't still work at Okra. And then he was going to compete against us and said, "I think I'll join your team rather than competing against you guys." So Greg's been with us 5 years. Then you've got Melissa, Justin, Brandon. Flipping over to the next page is what Okra has to offer you. They've got water grants. They've got wastewater grants. They got stormwater grants, commercial blight clearance, public facilities, and planning grants. The construction grants are offered twice a year, June and December. The planning grants are offered quarterly. So approximately February, May, and August. So every quarter, basically, they have planning grants available. A city or town can have 3 open grants at a time. That doesn't mean we can apply for 3 at one time, but we could have 3 active going at any one time. And what I mean by that is if we were to do a water construction project, hypothetically, to put a new water tower up, As soon as we bid that project out and sign construction contracts, we can then go after another grant. So you got to get to the point where you sign construction contracts and then you can go after another grant. So you just can't apply for two at one time. You got to pick one horse, get it awarded, bid it out, and then you can go after a second grant. Flipping over to the next page, for water or sewer, I can get you up to $750,000 for improvements. It requires at least a 20% match. So I really tell everybody, think about it as maybe not today, but in the next couple of years, if you have a project of $1 million that you need to fund on water or sewer, I can get you 750,000. You would have to put in 250,000. We can talk about where does that matching funds come from separately, but if you've got $1 million improvement you need, we can get up to 750,000 for water or sewer. These projects have to be to benefit residents, though. We can't put them in for a new housing addition. We can't put them in for commercial growth. It's got to be to impact the residents' daily lives here in the town. If we have any stormwater flooding in town, I can get us up to 750,000. Requires a 10% match. To give you an idea, the water sewer category, they get about 25-ish applications. They usually fund 10 to 12. The stormwater category, they usually get 3 or 4, and they normally fund 2 or 3. So I would say that's if you have some residential flooding, that's always a really good category to jump in. This last round was due in December. Only one project in the whole state came in for stormwater. So that's probably going to get funded. So, but you never know. There could be 6 this upcoming round because everybody saw one last round. Right. You don't know, but just based on past precedent, there's just a couple usually come in that category. Flipping over to the next page, there are also public facilities grants of up to 7. That's not a true statement. Ignore that page. You can get public facility grants of up to 750,000, but it's for fire stations and libraries, community centers, that kind of thing. Flipping over to the next page. I always get asked, what if I wanted to go after one of these grants? What's the process look like? What's it going to cost me? And I always want to be very upfront with what are your fees so you know what you're getting into at the very beginning. The first is the Okra funds are funds for low income residents. So the first thing is your community has to do what's called an income survey to determine if you're considered low income. So you would have an expense of $3,000 to determine if you're eligible for Okra.
Mike, can I stop you there?
Yep.
If there has been an income, and I don't know if it matches exactly, but if an income survey has been done in the last 3 years for another project, is that a
As
valid?
long as it was an Okra one. Sometimes
Well,
there's income surveys
The
for
reason that question came about, we had spoken about this.
Yep.
The township is actually in the process of doing an income study, but we would have to segregate the town from the township.
Yeah. So
Because
are
the
you
township's
doing
much larger.
like an Okra grant with the
They're,
township?
they're trying to get an Oprah grant for a community center in the old school building.
Okay. So Okra is very specific on your income survey. So like for that township, we would have to do that grant administrator would have to submit that through Okra with the list of everybody in the township. Okra would approve it and do it. We'd have to do a separate one that we'd have to submit to Okra that shows just the town boundary and the town stuff. So I couldn't use the township one.
That's what I think.
Or I couldn't cut a piece out of the township because Okra makes us have a very unique one.
Right.
But it's probably the same.
It is. It's basically the same for the construction side of the grant. So I'm kind of learning that as I go through.
Oh yeah. So in order to go in, even for that construction grant, these are the 7 things that we're going to have to be done for that project as well. The first is you got to do that income survey. The second is you have to have a preliminary engineering report. If you guys got a preliminary engineering report for sewer or water, I think you've got a little something you can build off of.
You could build off of. It's not full blown.
Sure. So you got to pay for a PER, preliminary engineering report. And what that is you got to look at, Okra requires you look at 3 alternative projects. You pick one, you get 3 cost estimates and 3 aerials, and you pick what your option is and why you think it. It doesn't have to be a big Some of these PERs, depending on where you go for those matching funds, when I said it was $1 million project and we have 750 and you got to get 250, depending on where you go to get that 250,000, some of the different funding agencies require different levels of a report. Some of them require a 150-page report. Some of them, if you just go to a bank and get a bank loan, they don't require that big. They require a 20-page. So you got to work with your financial advisor to determine where you're going to get your matching funds for a project, how you're going to afford it, and then work with your engineer to figure out what the project scope is. So you're going to have some costs for your income survey. You're going to have some costs for your preliminary engineering. OCR requires you have site control at the time you apply. What that means is you got to own the land. If you're building a new treatment plant, if you're building a new lift station, you got to own the land. If you're replacing water mains, you got to have easements for those water mains, basically. If you don't, then you got to follow what's called the Uniform Relocation Act to get it. You have to do an environmental review. You've got to then pass a resolution committing your matching funds, and you have to have an active SAM number. So that's one thing I think the town would need in order to apply is you have to have an active SAM number. And what that is, it's called a System for Award Management Number. You go to www.sam.gov, and then you create an entity there. And it's a multi-step process that takes a month or two. It's annoying as could be. And then they'll give you a number that's good for 1 year. And then you got to go renew it every year. But you got to have one of those to come in for OCRA. And so many times that stops projects because nobody else requires it. So a lot of people don't have it. But www.sam.gov, you got to work on that. And then we have to do some public hearings. If we do all those steps, we can come in for an OCRA. So you can come in for grants all day, but the question is, are they going to be able to get funded? Before I go there, I just wanted to show you what an income survey looks like. You'll see there's some really the important thing is what's on the back side of this income survey. That chart. Basically, what would happen is you would give me a list of all residents in the town. We would then put it in a random sampler and it said mail this to house number 8, 15, 36, 52. So not every person would get it. Once they get it, the real important section is the square in the back. I'm just going to check how many people live in your house and are you above or below this number. That's it. Don't need to know exact information. It's just above or below this number. But I wanted you to see what that would actually look like if you were to do that. And then I mentioned to you that OCRA's got planning grants and construction grants. This is a planning grant score sheet. So the planning grants OCRA has to offer are water, sewer, stormwater. You could do one utility, you could do all 3 utilities. There's a couple of all along. There you go. Oh, I'm still one back, so I can review it. I can't read all of them. There's an extra.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an extra. Okay. So the first score is what's called your national objective score. That's just your low to moderate income percentage. So you do your income survey, you'll get a number, and that's what goes right there. The second score is what's called your distress factors. That's a number that's assigned to you. You can't change it. It's 84.02, so that's the points you're going to get in that spot. It's based on your poverty rate, your median household income, unemployment rate, housing cost burden, and population change. It's just I go on the OCRA website, type in your town name, and it tells me that number. The third thing is what you can change. That's how much money you put into a project. So if you were to do a 3 utility study, we could get $90,000. That's water, sewer, and stormwater. And that would pay an engineer to look at what are your needs over the next 10 years for all 3 utilities, water, sewer, and stormwater. If you went after $90,000 grant, you have to have $10,000 in matching funds. You only pay that $10,000 if you get a grant. You don't get a grant, we don't charge an application fee. That's the good part about planning grants. You know, it's kind of we're in this with you. But you'll see here in a minute, we're going to go through the scoring. So we get 10 points in that section. Flipping over to the next side, we have to talk to OCRA about why do we need the study? What issues are we experiencing? I would talk about things like the lift station control panel wasn't working. We're having to pay for regular maintenance on it, like this $600 bill. See this invoice we got. I would talk about how residents are impacted. You know, anything in the last 5 years they've been impacted: water, sewer, stormwater. I would have to talk about. Uh, that's out of 300 points there. I normally score 270, which is, if that were a college paper, that'd be an A minus. I can score better than that. It just depends on what kind of documentation I have. If I have water main breaks with photos, if I have flooding in residents' yards, the more documentation I have, the higher you score. I think 260 is a realistic number. That's a solid D plus college paper. We may be able to do better than that, but I just kind of am just guesstimating. The next thing is community engagement. So Okra wants to see that residents are involved in this. They want residents to write letters. They want residents to get involved. I gave us a score out of 35 out of 50 there. And the reason being is because in number 2, we've got to show that doing this utility study connects to a plan that's already been done in the past. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we can find it in a county comp plan or a county plan, or we got to find some kind of planning document that says, hey, the town should look at their water, sewer, or stormwater system. Sometimes I lose points there because we just don't have it. So I gave us a 35 out of 50 there, which I think is very realistic. The next section's bonus points. We can get 12 points there if we sit down with a meeting for Okra. So we'll do that. The bottom of the next page, you see the score sheet summary. That's all the points. We're at a score of a 452. You have to be over 450 to be eligible for funding. 452 means everything's got to go daggone perfect for us to get funded. So I don't really think I would chase a planning grant if I were you. Just being very honest with you. I mean, if you guys said, look, well, that's what we want to do, we'll do it. But I think the amount of work you're going to put in, there's just not enough points here to get. And when you look at the score sheet, you can't change number 1 or 2. Number 3 is your match percentage. So you could put more money into the project if you want. But at that point, you're putting in 20 grand. That's starting to get expensive. You know, and now you're getting 15 points instead of 10 or 20 points. The narratives, I mean, we might be able to get a couple points better than that, but we could get a couple points worse. You know, that's just a guesstimate score. So I wanted to go through that with you so you see why I was saying, when Tyler mentioned it to me, I'm like, sometimes the score comes back and it's like 490. And it's like, Tyler, this is a good one for a utility study. But I just don't think it's a good idea. So just being honest with you on that. However, I don't like always just showing up with bad news. I always show up with some decent news too. If you were to go after a construction grant, and maybe it's not now, but a year or 2 down the road, if you go after a construction grant, you see the scores are the same, your national objective, your distress. If you had a project that was like 1.5 million, sometimes when you get in construction projects, it don't take long for money to add up. But if you had like a $1.5 million project, you would get 50 points in that section. The narratives, I put we'd score the same. The financials are pretty similar, but I gave us a 30 there. The bonus points there. Now we're in the 490 range. That's a lot better than being so close to 450. But this is if you ever go after a construction project, which I know we're not there yet. I'm just planting the seed on when things happen. If you need something, it's nice to know what's in your back pocket. What kind of questions do you have for me?
Well, what we're trying to do is, one of the main things that we need is we need a treatment plant update. Substantially, that's the big thing. That's
Sure.
one of them. We have several issues with water intake in the system, you know, stormwater.
Yeah.
And those need to be repaired, but the plant is so outdated.
Sure.
And if it goes down, I mean, what do? You're gonna sit down there with a gas pump, diesel fuel, or diesel pump to run the whole town.
Yeah.
If you lose the septic system sewer in this town, there's nowhere to put septic system.
Sure. So, who's the town's financial advisor? Do we have one?
Oh.
Okay. Who is it? She's fine.
No, we don't have one.
So a lot of times what towns do is they hire a financial advisor. There's only 12 firms in the state that do that work. My dad's got a company that does one. You don't have to use him, you can use somebody else. But they would do what's called a rate study for you. They would look at your utility and what are your expenses every year, and then what would it cost to do a project. If you wanted to do $1 million project, we were to get a $750,000 grant, what would you have to raise rates on each user to afford your $250,000?
Right.
Those rate studies, I mean, you can find them anywhere from 3,500 to 15,000. They're really all going to give you the same amount of information. But typically, what I see happen on a project like this is if you don't have enough money to pay for that preliminary engineering report right off the bat, what sometimes I see happen is you get a loan from a bank for like 30 or 40 grand, whatever the price is, 50 grand, short-term loan to pay for that study. Then you do that study. And then from that study, you find out, okay, it's a $1.5 million project. And then you go get a loan for that 750,000 plus the 40, and you pay that 40 back. So then you get a loan for 790. But you got to know what that's going to cost your
Right.
users.
We need a price on the
But-
station.
Yeah, we need a lift station, what we need.
Yeah, and so, an engineer is going to say, I need some kind of dollar amount to get that
Do you have
report
any
done.
idea what that would cost? Just ballpark.
You get the side of the lift station. I think
It's gonna have to be able to handle a couple 100,000 gallons a day.
I can have it to you by noon tomorrow. I don't off the top of my head, but.
All right, if you, it's just an idea, because if that's the first step, then we need to move that way.
But I like the way you're thinking is he can give you a ballpark number. Hey, we did one that's 1.7 million. Then the next question for you guys is like, how would we afford that?
Right.
And that's where you would call a financial advisor that come in and do your rate study and say, hey, if you go with an OCA grant, this is what your rate impact would be. And you kind of got to think with the end in mind and then work backwards.
Right, I understand. I mean, you can't put the cart in front of the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it, so we need to know what we're looking at, and what we need to raise before we can raise.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, so I don't know when the last time the town did a wastewater rate study was, but I mean, you all know everything's more expensive these days than it was 3 years ago.
Well, I mean, I'm a business owner,
Yeah.
I'm an excavation business.
Yeah.
And what things cost to blow me away nowadays. It's just what it costs to do anything.
I wasn't joking when I said you don't get much for $1 million these days for in construction. Like, it's just crazy. I opened 3 bids today on projects. And
Had a guy with a bunch of money tell me one time, he said, you know what $2 million is?
Next day.
I said, no, what is $2 million? He said, it ain't nothing if you got it, but it's a whole bunch if you owe it.
hey, that's the truth. That is. So yeah, and I think I'm at just throwing ideas out there, but you might invite a financial advisor to the next meeting to talk about what they do and what services they have.
What is the name of your father's company?
Klein Peter Financial Group, and I'll give you a number for them. And we've worked together. We just did a big $10 million bond issuance in Cal, so I mean we've worked together before. His phone number is 463-246. 2043. And I think just a rate study would help you, number one, figure out what do you need to get whole, and then because things are costing more. And then do you have any outstanding debt currently? Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's real good.
No, and like the engineering thing, I mean, we probably have enough funds in that to pay quite a bit of the engineering stuff.
Yeah.
But with the funds we got, we also got 50 issues that the smoke test uncovered that have to be addressed as well.
And
so we're trying to start with the worst, and work our way to the least.
Yeah, I understand. And I like how you're thinking though, because you don't want to do the study until you got some ballpark. And then when you got that ballpark, you're like, okay, what's it going to cost me? What is it going to be on my ratepayers? Okay, I'm okay with the X dollar increase. I can afford that. Rather than paying, and now you got this report that's just sitting on the shelf, but you can't do it because you can't afford it.
And the other thing the other problems that we have as well, and Scott will vouch for this, is we have one line that's taken off so much water. And I talked to Todd about this today, that They're trying to get grant money to make a community center at school, which has a baseball field, and there's a manhole at second base that overflows.
You know what comes out of those?
And actually, going above it, it blows the lid off when we get a big rain.
Yeah.
So we just and the reason we worry about the lift station, the pumps run for what, Scott? 4 days when we have a big rain nonstop.
Yeah, they won't shut off for a couple days. Here in the spring, they won't shut off for 2 or 3 days.
Put that in your minutes. Statements like that, because
Well, what's-
then when I go after a wastewater grant 2 years from now or next year, whenever that is, I've got a document that we've had this issue for years, and I'm like, hey, let's pull those minutes where that statement was said. And that documents it, because with over construction, Rich, you get points for proving it.
The other big concern that I have is there's another small community that has a school that's Deputy Indian.
Okay.
They have no sewer system. They have a small town. There's nowhere to put septics. I install septic systems for a living.
Okay.
There's nowhere to put septic
Yeah.
systems. So those houses are basically worthless on the brink of being condemned, or very disgusting.
Mhm.
If you don't have a septic system, that's what you have.
Yeah.
And that whole town's that way, so it's just drying up. And the same thing would be here if we lost that, or we have a bad failure with that. People have nowhere to put a septic system in the majority of these houses.
What's our 4,000 gallon rate for sewer rating? Any idea, ballpark?
The minimum is just $25 a month.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure exactly how it goes up from there, but
The reason I ask is because different funding agencies have grant money depending on what your rates are. You guys are in a very good position with your sewer rates being where they are. I just had a project that was like 109 for 4,000 gallons. Like,
yeah, ours are super low.
but when you get to a certain level, it's like $85 now. SRF will start giving you grant money, but we're nowhere near that. So that's great. I was just trying to think of, do we
Well,
need
so
a big report or a little report? Because if
Well, we have some room there if we need to increase to payback.
yeah, but you don't want to do more than you have to. I
Right,
get it.
exactly, because
get
we're
it.
already low income.
Right. I understand.
You ever lined any of your sewers?
We
I
have
need
not.
you have not. Well,
First
you're
off-
treating rainwater. And there's one of those kind of concepts from our side is you're putting a lot of time and money into treating rainwater. It's coming down, it's going into the pipe, you're sending it to the wastewater plant. He's spending your money on chemicals and energy and everything it takes to treat it. But it's not even supposed to be there. Wastewater should be there. So you find yourself kind of chasing this money when you're saying, well, I got to pay to treat it, but it shouldn't be there. Well, then we got to either stop it from getting in. Now, these are all expensive. And they're big deals and they're big issues, they're expensive issues. All the stuff's underground and miles of pipe. But I do want to kind of take that pressure off and say a couple times he has said, not this year, 2, 3, whatever it may be. A lot of our clients we've been working with over 10 years. You don't start on the first and just fix everything. You kind of come up with your plan.
From the worst to the
How we going to eat this
Worst
bear?
case.
One bite at a time.
Mhm.
You don't want this to sound like I'm coming down on it, but they're heavy, expensive issues. Wastewater plants, it ain't cheap.
And the thing with the Ochre grant is if we go in and we don't get funded, they're going to come out, they're going to give us feedback. We're going to go right back in the next round. And we're going to get funded. I mean,
Right.
I'll get funded. And based on my past experience in the last 4 years, every project I brought in has been funded eventually. So,
Could you give me some ideas, like I said, on the plant cost, and then maybe an idea what it would cost to engineer?
Yes, I
Yeah,
mean, is it
Yeah,
okay if I
Scott-
call him
yeah,
since
you
he
and Scott
has
will
all
work
that
together. Yeah,
information?
he knows that, but
Size, what you're thinking it'd be. And then what I'll do is I'll just call you tomorrow if we got time.
Yeah, I think he's saying on about 250,000 gallons a year. Like 7.5 inch pipe, probably or something.
if we could get an idea of what it costs for the engineering on that too, could replace that as well. That's
So I
something we
would
can
get to
discuss.
like on the control panel, I wouldn't get like handovers, it's all sophisticated. It just needs to be a simple control panel with floats and on and off switch, You had to work in that one Sonic thing.
And just since I've written these grants, there's a lot of little tips and tricks and what round do you go in because there's benefits to coming in one round versus the other. I'll tell you, second round, which is December, is the harder of the two rounds to get funded because that's when Okra allows the state revolving loan fund to team up with them. And the state revolving loan fund is where all your $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 million projects are coming in with Okra. And then you're down here with $1 million project, and you're like, you just can't score high enough because they run out of money before you get to it. But if you come in round one, SRF isn't allowed to team up with Okra. And what I mean by that is you can't go to SRF for those big projects. So you either have to go to a local bank loan, which if you've got an $8 million project, you're not going to a local bank for that loan because you need a low interest rate. So the June round is better for projects, basically 2-3 million and under. That's the best round to be in. But your financial advisor, I work with all financial advisors. They know these things too, but part of it too is finding the right spot to get into so that way you are more competitive. But if we're ready to go in December, we'll go in. We may score high and just get run out of money, and then we just do 2 public hearings and come right back in.
It's just got 30 likes on it.
We don't charge an application fee. You will pay for your income survey. And
what is the cost approximately on this?
It's like $3,000, but really it's all the damn gallon postage because I got to mail and then I got to mail a second time.
Would that be something you will get in start with? I mean, how long is that income study good for? I guess
It's good for 4 years. But again, I'm going to make sure you guys won't. I don't want you to start spending money and paying me to do something, and that we're not going to be able to go to the finish line.
We need to hear from him.
Yes.
We need to get our cost analysis and everything online.
No, I agree, but I think it is something worth going ahead and getting started. But I'd say let's get these numbers and make sure everything looks good because I don't want to start billing you and then never get anything for you.
It's always amazing. People will just get a grant
on me for a hot.
There's a million engineering firms out there, and some of them will tell you, "Oh, Garrett, they don't control the money. They can't." If an engineering firm ever guarantees you money, they're lying to you.
They're competitive and it's hard to get. But I think when you go through the score sheet and you look at your project, and especially if everybody goes and gets me 3 letters from 3 people in the community of issues they've experienced, and we come back to all these letters, we wrote enough Okra grants. We know what they're looking for. Some of us have been on those meetings when we worked at Okra on, hey, this is what I want to do.
Every bit of our system is clay. Just to give you an idea of what we got. Oh, everything we got is clay.
Yeah. We got all those joints.
And we have places where, for example, we have a building that's been built right on the corner of the pipe, and we have number 53 stone that plugs our pipes up. And it's around the curve. And they buried the manhole next to it, so you can't get in.
The only thing I haven't told you that I want to tell you is for Okra, if you come in for a wastewater grant and it gets funded, they give you a 50-point deduct if you come back within 5 years for another wastewater project. So really, the sooner you do that first project, you start that 5-year cycle, and then come in the 6th year for another project.
I would love to see us figure out how to get this plant done. Because I know that that's the number, that's the heart of the situation. The rest of the stuff we can put pipes in if that's pipes.
Yeah.
That's the heart of the system. Back, it ain't that big a deal. A lot of it's not deep. Now we do have some areas where it's 16 feet deep.
That's where you slip on.
That's where you slip.
So I owe you, coming out of this meeting, my to-do list is to get you some rough ideas. Hey,
Get some rough ideas.
PER for Okra, got access to him. He's got the system, so he'll be able to answer any questions. I should be able to turn that around. Depending on my, tomorrow, probably by end of day tomorrow. Just call you direct.
If you're going to email it to me, Robin, can you give him?
I got it from Brad and Monty.
Okay, well, we have Robin's if you could, if we heard. That'd be wonderful. We can forward it on the board members.
Well, we're in the neck of the woods. You tell us to come down and do it.
That likes terrible.
I'll tell Brad I said hi.
I will.
When's your next council meeting?
It's the second Tuesday of every month. So I'm not sure how that falls next month.
Second.
Find everybody else. The camera,
Cameron following.
she just suggested about.
Uh,
Weird, like Caleb.
Yeah, it's never done that before. I don't know what it's doing. Smile, Caleb.
AI is after me.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come down.
Yeah,
Next
appreciate
time you
you.
guys come down this way, come early and I'll buy you dinner some.
Done. Done.
Next time,
Hey, I'll tell you what, I did
next time
bring.
you get down early, call me. I'll send you that.
Okay, yeah. I saw the shirt that you out there. I think I know that.
These are small photos. and all that. This is the stuff that last night. This break.
Yeah, you take it. You take it.
No, I can't.
Oh.
Down in Spurgeon. Actually, that's what we were talking about. We use this map to do our 811.
Talks about areas. This would just be what we call at a glance. You can put a list of services offered to 90% of them won't pertain to this. Just kind of let you know who, what, and how.
Yeah, really appreciate you coming down, man. Been good speaking with you on the phone.
All these boys want to hear. I tried, and I know. Couldn't get it.
Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you. And then, I'm gonna say mine gets in those. Well, we've got footage that we've had.
Sorry, my number's 708.
We can go through these. And the ones that are
Thank you guys for your time. I
Thank you
love
very
the
much
show.
for coming.
That's a big game. Thank you guys.
Just thinking about it, you pumped up.
To that.
Good night, guys.
Like that, we need to know those people so we can send them that.
I'll start looking at
There's nothing wrong with it.
Well,
we need to go to the next.
Okay. What do you have, Mr. Phillips? What do you have for us?
I got the quote for All-Star Paving for the crack seal for your community crossing for 6-1.
And I have an email here. With it on there. So his quote is 17,544.68.
What was the agreement on that?
15
Yeah,
something,
15
15.8, I think.
And you guys were one of the few that got the full match or very close to that 80-20. They touted the 80-20 a lot, and there's a lot of communities that got zero, and there's a lot that got half of what they requested.
So and what was the total amount, Robin? We'll tell the board here again.
17,544.68.
So it's roughly gonna cost us $27.
Yeah.
Okay. Could I get a motion to approve the crack filling?
Let's approve that.
Could I get a second to the motion?
Make that second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
I'll have to get all the documentation of Don here in the Sim Pan, so they can get you technified.
Okay, sounds
It's
good.
not done until you get that money.
Yeah. Thanks, Bobby.
Hey, you're welcome. You need anything else from me?
I don't think so.
Is Scott gonna say something really good? Let's stick around and listen, Scott.
Probably, probably got, free on these grants, probably good information for you.
It's a small world. I just met his dad about 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Small world.
Somebody.
You guys don't need me, I'll just quit it.
Okay.
Go wash your house.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Bye.
so
See you
much.
guys. You bet. Be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, do we got anything for open discussion?
How'd the snow plowing go?
The county, the county plowed Reynolds,
Yeah, I know.
that, all the little roads I plowed. The night when I come in, I plowed all the small side streets. There was just a loop up here. It was just a loop up here and right up here, and then I think that's all. Wow. Oh, the one behind the church. The one, whatever the street is, that circled by that church. I plowed that street. All the little streets I went by. I
That was
plowed.
good. The county did that, but I thought.
Yeah, it was good. They had everything opened up nice. Like I said, I came in one evening. It's probably about 3 or 5 in the morning when I came in from down there. I went ahead and just plowed them all, got them open. So I didn't get them great, but that was enough people could get in it. Because if you plow it back, then everybody's upset because you plowed it in their drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just plowed it and got them opened up. So when they shoveled the end of the driveway out, and then they could all get in it.
All right.
And we have.
We do not.
I guess we're going next to.
You mentioned last time about turf study for the park. Is anything?
I'm sure that nobody's got back.
They have not. No.
Them people, to be honest with you, them people are terrible. That
I've
whole
worked with them
ordeal,
before.
that whole deal at that park has been terrible. They don't want to come back. How long did you fight to get the zip line fence?
Oh yeah.
And they had a faulty part that broke in the cable and someone drilled in it, but they didn't want to come back. And
Yeah, and the playground guy that's our contact has to contact the turf company. He doesn't want us to contact the turf company on our own. And it's terrible getting them here.
it's
Is
terrible.
there other options?
I don't know. See, here's the thing. You would think that the turf, for the price of the turf, should be warranted a little bit better. But now they're coming out and saying that whether it was mats you should have bought. Well, nobody mentioned any mats, or it would have happened when at the time it was done. I assure you that it would have happened.
Is there an option of using like recycled material, like the recycled tire rubber
Well,
in its place instead?
Well, the turf, you have to understand that the turf that's down there was $850,000 to get that turf. And that turf was all specified in what they grant was for that thing. That's what they all agreed to. So it basically needs repaired. It needs the mats put around it, which would turn we need to do some kind of fundraise. My wife seems to think that we still need to have the Easter egg hunt at the park, just the Easter egg hunt. I mean, just to keep it on because it's easy. People donate eggs.
Yeah.
We just need somebody to kind of step up. But you just need the Easter
She
egg
help
hunt.
us with it.
I think so.
I can coach you over there if you want.
I'm sorry.
I can help out with it. Okay.
I think she just wants to just keep that going, keep something going and make on it.
We can. Easter's what, the 5th? So you're talking probably Saturday the 4th.
One more thing, and it would be an old business. But what about our mowing deals?
I got the bid notice ready.
Okay.
So
And it calls out all the details of the.
yes, as best I could do. Yes, I kind of looked at other samples of other really small towns around to try to know the wording and stuff, and then what we needed in there.
Vegetation, maintaining and wording like that.
Yeah. So
The trigger words.
yeah, the trigger words. But I've got that ready to go.
Something else Scott brought up again that we need to make a decision on or figure something out as well. We need the sludge study. He has a new inspector with the state. We need the sludge study done at the beginnings.
The other bill asked for it again.
Who does that?
I have a sludge judge at Hanover, so we don't have to buy anything. It's just a
matter of get somebody out and move.
It's going to take somebody in a boat.
Well, that's what it is. He's got to see how much sludge is in the bottom of the lagoons.
It's like you pick.
It must be the tool. It's a person, a sludge judge.
No, it's a tool.
Okay.
It's a tool. Yeah, you stick it down in the water and you pull it up, and then they have all clear, and then however much sludge is, it'd be dark.
Same thing.
What's
Wasn't Jason again?
Yeah, but Jason he recently had hernia surgery, had hip surgery, and he's kind of. I can ask.
So you got the tool.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody that would go out and do it?
I could probably get Eddie there at work. Get him a boat. He'd probably do it. Just from what I was told, you take about have to draw somewhat of a little map, and like 15 spots in each lagoon and stick it and get your readings.
So if you'd be interested, let us know. We need to get it.
But he's not like insured or anything like that. He just works for me, but he would do something like that. Get a flat bottom, some kind of stable boat because you're going to be standing out. So he probably doesn't have a boat. Yeah, I don't want to swim in a wastewater plant again. And the turtles that are down there, I don't want to swim with them either.
No.
They're huge. They look prehistoric. They're so big.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, they are huge. They're
Are they?
massive.
Oh my! Joey Pike was going on one day. I thought, I went out there and I had one up on the bank one day. I bit into shovel and I pulled him up. He was huge.
No, some of them.
Oh, my goodness.
Some of them are big as 55 gallon.
Yeah. They're huge.
Wow.
Well, they got perfect environment to live and eat.
Yeah.
I will work on that too. I'll ask them to list what it help me. Being this thing.
You probably just need a good flat bottom boat.
That's what I don't have.
I don't have.
I'll put my kayaks. Enjoy the day.
Yeah.
You just need a pack of beer. You're gonna be.
Yeah.
I've got one of the outriggers that you put on your kayak.
Yeah, it needs to be a good flat bottom.
Yeah, because you got to stand. You got to.
Be able to stand up.
Yeah, because it's hard to explain. It's a clear plastic tube. I think this one's 20 foot long or 18 foot long. It's got a ball in the bottom of it.
Right, so it sucks it up in.
So to get rid of what's in there, you have to be able to touch that ball and something that releases all the water out of it.
Okay.
And then go to the next spot.
You can check with your guys and you can check with his guy and see.
Eddie would do it. Yeah, I didn't talk to him back last year. He said, I'll do it. Got to get him a boat. If everybody had a boat. Pontoon.
Paddle.
We'll be able to stand up on that too. You need a flat bottom, just about 12-foot flat bottom John boat. Yeah. You got something you can stand in.
Probably something with a little trolling motor on it. You rig up a little temporary trolling motor.
Right.
Okay. Sign the vouchers.
Get one of those little Argo side by sides and go right in the morning, drive out in it.
Yeah, I would probably do that if you get one of those.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah.
I kind of been wanting one of them anyway.
Go ahead, then we'll just do it. I'll bring it.
Excuse.
Yeah.
Let's see it for sale for like $2,500. And it's still not terrible. So
No, right. Hold the check up. It's in down there. Yeah. Yeah. So I also need your signature.
Okay.
I can feel this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
you.
Be the same.
No, I'm good with camera and Caleb only.
All eyes on you.
I mean, it's directly right at him. You move back to normal and then it's right.
Keep going on trouble.
So I got.
Nothing but me and
The date of our next meeting will be March the 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
God.
What's
702.
702? Thank you.
Septic systems.
Yeah.
All
right, so-
So the solids going down there. We try.
Salt's on back over. All salt's falling the tank. Go to the bottom of the tank.
Yeah.
A lot of information, or didn't you get?
It's a lot of information there.
Oh, so not come
Oh,
back.
you need to fill that one.
Like we're-
Yeah. Boxes was supposed to cover it up. I had a place out of. More, this was supposed to cover it up.
Bye, guys.
Whatever, you might. Finish up.
Second put in.
Question is, I think not question, why is it back up like that? Because it should never back up.
Ours does when I'm talking.
It's working.
Yeah, everything will fall on. We've already done. All the little people, plumbing, siding, roof.
So he gave metric of sorts for the other buildings
This is something that you
of
wanted to do with it. Yeah.
not noticing, trying to figure out what the
So she wants to do it.
what the deciding factors are for amounts of.
Yeah, I'll see. Let me talk to her.
Okay.
I don't want to waste your
Of
time. I
being
don't know that
the
it'll
way
happen.
forward.
I don't know what she's gonna do.
Is
I
that
just mentioned it, so I
How's that?
mentioned it.
Yeah, maps. I think you have to get a bid and figure out what
Her friends in the scout think
the cost is that you
Oh,
need.
right, rather than
Yeah.
subsidizing. Gotcha.
Yeah, so you have to
Caleb, I have a suggestion for you. buddy.
engineer.
Yes, sir.
You need to go to the next meeting we have for this meeting and this board, you know, this board, it'll be very educational.
Which one's that?
It's cool. They're changing it to a 501(c) to get to raise grants. From the school.
501(c)(3).
You good?
But it would be very educational for you.
In this next meeting, yeah.
He just tried to call me during this meeting to probably tell me when the next meeting was, but as far as I'm concerned, it's an open board. As far as I'm,
Yeah,
Where?
it's always
but they're trying to pull all the
Can
money
you-
up now. They're trying to pass officers behind people's backs. Be a real good education.
Yeah, it's an interesting process.
So, what day is that?
Let me call him back right now.
We get this session probably about $300,000-400,000.
Right.
Is they are a corporation for the 501(c)(3). I want to-
The big fee like I think like they want to put it in here.
He's just saying. I think it is.
So they get, you guys got a map of the new maps of the sewer system?
Yeah, Hey, it's got everything. It's got all the problems and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug, sorry I was in a town board meeting. We were getting an education on getting open drains. God, what was his guy's name? Something Ultra Peter?
Klein Peter,
Klein Peter.
Michael Klein Peter.
Michael Klein Peter. He probably, I should have invited to this meeting because he was very educational. I caught that Western Engineering. They said he's the bomb at getting grants, and he's from Seymour, originally from Seymour, and he came down and filled us in on everything we needed for construction grants. All kinds of, it was very educational. I have a lot of documentation. I'll drop off to you tomorrow if you'd like to read it
That's the deal. Yeah.
about those grants.
Keep this with me.
Well, this is, he even gave us score sheets and what to do on the score sheets to get them hired. Like, yeah. How about the meeting? Yes, Monday night. Okay, and then I have a question for you. I have somebody that's interested in being involved with that. Is they'd like to be on the board? Is that an option? Okay. 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 I just didn't know.